first Egyptian dictator Pharaoh, Firaun life. Pharaoh was an Egyptian king. He was the most wicked dictator ever existed on this earth. He was very selfish and arrogant. He was also very rude and atheist. He had so much ego and arrogance that he forced the people of his time to believe and worship him as a god. It is believed that the Pharaoh's death was the most tragic death on this earth. He started considering himself as the creator of this world. Pharaoh was an oppressor and an arrogant king of Egypt who ruled for several years and was a very famous Pharaoh because of his cruelty. He had a wife and had no children of his own. As time passed and there was only one strong man who claimed himself to be the greatest and the most powerful. People used to pray to him as he claimed to be the god. They were made to worship Pharaoh as he claimed to be the only god. He was responsible for his people's economic and spiritual welfare and dispersed justice to his subjects. He has perpetrated monstrous crimes on this earth. His crimes have brought him a disgrace to this extent that people don't even want to look at him twice. He looks to be the ugliest and rotten just because of his behavior. Pharaoh strongly encouraged and practiced slavery. He ruled over people who were known as Banu Israel, children of Israel. They were beaten and tortured to build great monuments and statues of the Pharaoh. Many years ago, even before the birth of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, Moses, Pharaoh had this astrology that a male child born in his kingdom would be the reason for his downfall and death. Hence from then onwards he gave a command that any male children being born in that year were to be killed in the cradle itself. When Prophet Musa alayhi salam, Moses' mother came to know that the army of Pharaoh was coming for him, she put Prophet Musa alayhi salam in a cane basket and set him in the river Nile. It might surprise you to know that Prophet Musa alayhi salam, may peace and blessings be upon him, was an adopted child of Pharaoh. The basket in which Prophet Musa alayhi salam was laid, came in the vicinity of the royal palace of Pharaoh. Pharaoh's wife, who was an extremely kind lady, saw this baby in the basket and went into the water to fetch him. She requested Pharaoh to keep the child as a prince in the royal palace itself. It was only a coincidence that a lady was to be hired to breastfeed this young one, hence the birth mother was appointed as she was a milking mother. It was completely the power and high lineage that Pharaoh was arrogant about. Pharaoh had a court in which he had some magicians too. You would have read about Pharaoh in the Old Testament and many other religious books that it was his claim to be the god which took his life. In the Holy Quran, which is a religious book of Islam, it is mentioned that Pharaoh has not been accepted by water, land and even air. That is why God still preserved his body, and the body will remain the same until doomsday. He is a living dead example to all mankind so that they too don't become heedless of the truth that there is no other God other than Allah. He was amongst those who were cursed. He claimed to his people that there can be no other God for his people other than himself. He claimed to have power over all things. From the chapter in the Quran, when Prophet Musa alayhi salam Moses came to them with clear signs, they said this is nothing but sorcery faked up. Never did we hear the like among our fathers of old. Prophet Musa alayhi salam said, My Lord knows the best who it is that comes with guidance from him and whose end will be best in the hereafter. Certain it is that the wrongdoers will not prosper. Pharaoh said, O chiefs, no God do I know for you but myself, therefore, O Haman, light me out of clay, and build me a lofty place, that I may mount you to the God of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. But as far as I am concerned, I think Moses is a liar. When Pharaoh's army chased Moses and the children of Israel, when Prophet Musa alayhi salam Moses came to the sea, he had no ship or boat to escape, no bridge to cross the sea. Allah commanded Prophet Musa alayhi salam to place his stick onto the ground near the water. When Pharaoh and his army came to capture the Bani Israel while they were escaping from Egypt, Allah ordered to remove the stick, and the water came back together, hence the entire army along with Pharaoh drowned in the water. Later when God commanded, the water expelled Pharaoh's body out of the sea after several days. From then onwards his body has neither been buried or drowned. Even the air denies accepting the body. So the final conclusion about Pharaoh's miserable death was his own ego and pride which made him think that he would be eternal. His and his followers were plunged into the sea as a mark of an end of those who do wrong. On the day of judgment the sinners shall not be able to seek any help from anybody, and those who shall respect and walk on the path of true wisdom with good deeds and loyal hearts shall be blessed and rewarded on the day of judgment. Hence the mummy of Pharaoh is a sign of mankind when they get unto the sinners. According to many researchers, it is a miracle for scientists to see a well-preserved dead corpse even after centuries. Dr. Maurice Bucaille, one of the heads of researchers in France, got a chance to conduct research on the dead mummy of Pharaoh, Firaun, after the late French President Francisco Mitre took over France in 1981. The people of France appealed to the Egyptian government to organize the display of the mummy of Firaun, for laboratory and archaeological. Professor Maurice was dazzled and surprised on learning that Muslims believed in a holy book called Quran, in which it was narrated all about the drowning of Firaun, and the preservation of his body to indicate the sign to mankind. He wondered that how could a book of 1,400 years ago narrate about the death of Firaun, which was just discovered about 200 years ago. After listening to this, he went through the Holy Quran and read more about Firaun. Dr. Maurice Bucaille came to know it has been told in the Holy Quran 14,000 years ago that Allah will preserve the dead body of Pharaoh, Firaun, as an example to entire mankind until doomsday, so that many heedless people take the example of the Firaun, and realize what their role is towards Allah. After this, he accepted Islam as his religion and became a Muslim then onwards. Something that was still troubling Professor's mind was that how could this mummy have been preserved and saved than any other mummy in spite of being taken out from the sea until the present time. Professor Maurice jotted the final report according to his thoughts on discovery about the preservation of Firaun's body shortly after his death and embalming it. While Dr. Maurice read the Holy Quran, he came across the verses where it has been told the story how Firaun's army chased Prophet Musa alayhi salam and the children of Israel,